Naren, would you be surprised if I told you 49% of the adults in the United States put off a visit to the dentist because of fear? Would you be surprised?
It's not surprising to me because, I was just talking to a friend of mine right before we started recording, maybe a couple of hours, and he has a 7-year-old and she's, like terrified of going to the dentist.
Yeah.
And
By the way, there's
that kind of
training in
continues,
docs,
right, for some people throughout their adulthood and so forth.
There's training in docs for the pediatric component. If you want to apply oral conscious sedation to kids, there's training inside docs for that.
Right.
Would you be surprised, Naren, if I told you that 22% of the adults in the U.S. population won't go to the dentist at all because of fear?
Yeah,
22%. That's almost 1 out of 4.
Yes.
That's 1 out of 4. But if we can let your patients know that there's an option, there's a way for us to treat you comfortably, where you're conscious, but you're in a twilight zone, then there's a way. They used to call this sleep dentistry, but technically that was not the right term because the patient's not asleep. They're not unconscious like they would be with IV sedation. Plus, when dental offices got into treating obstructive sleep apnea, they call that sleep dentistry. So I think the term sleep dentistry might be a misnomer for oral conscious sedation.
Speaking of terms, like I see like pain-free dentist, painless dentist, sedation dentist. I mean, I think a lot of people are even aware of, different types of techniques and methods that's out there to do dentistry without pain.
So one of the things to do would be to master search engine optimization, so you attract new patients who are afraid of going to the dentist, and you let them know you can treat them. And the best way to do that is organic search engine optimization, where you become ranked for keywords and key phrases, all built around the concept of oral conscious sedation. So Naren, if they were working with you, if you were their marketing agency, you would do a search in their community for what are the most common keywords and phrases.
Absolutely.
You would get that list, and then you would populate that in the form of landing pages on the website with those copy in the content of your website. You'd also put it in the coding, the HTML coding behind the curtain. So the coding supports the search for that. And you would help the office become ranked, meaning that they get on page 1 when someone in your community is looking for an office that provides oral conscious sedation. And they're looking for this. Now, here's what we found. Because the patient that is the candidate for oral conscious sedation has typically been away from the dentist. And when I say away from the dentist, I don't mean that they've gone 7 months instead of their 6-month hygiene recare. These are people that haven't been to the dentist typically in many years. It could be 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years. And Naren, what happens to the patient clinically when they've been away from the dentist for that long? What happens to them?
Yeah, I think their oral health deteriorates. And typically when they do come in just to catch up, to just get to baseline, there's a lot of things that needs to be taken care of and taken care of right away. Yeah. So typically this could be like, several fillings, possibly, some cavities that are at a root canal stage. I don't know, depends on each patient, obviously, right. But I think the bottom line is there's a lot of dentistry that has to get done.
It's like deferred maintenance. If you don't take your car in for regular service, if you've gone 15, 18, 20 years, you're probably not going to be surprised when the garage says, oh, we need a lot of catching up to do.
Or even like a house, right? Let's say you haven't done anything to the house for like 20 years. All of a sudden you touch one thing and then pretty much you have to redo everything.
It's a domino. The domino falls and you've got to do a lot more. Well, the patients understand that, and they're afraid of they're afraid of going to the dentist. It often isn't exotic dentistry. This high-value service probably falls in the wheelhouse of almost any of our listeners of the Less Insurance Advantage podcast in terms of the dentistry. It's not exotic. Right. It's fillings, root canals, and crowns, but it's often a lot of them because of the deferred maintenance, the nature of it.
And the other thing I noticed from our clients who focus on high-value dentistries, these patients become loyal clients because, they have not gone to a dentist and you are like their savior and they really like you and appreciate you. And they'll never go anywhere else. And sometimes they would even travel hours. Let's say they move somewhere else and now they're living 2 hours away.
Oh,
they want to come back to you. They don't want to go to somebody else.
They become some of your biggest ambassadors. They will also tell other people about you
Right.
because of their experience. And they're also highly likely to write a love letter review,
Review.
Google review, where not everyone wants to disclose their own
Yeah.
concerns, but there are individuals say, hey, I was one of those that stayed away from going to the dentist, and I'm embarrassed about that, but man, the way they treat me here is just so fan, and I'm so pleased to now get back on track. And that can be a very useful type of review to receive. And when you look at production, per unit of time, this is very productive because of the amount of dentistry you're doing. And it could be one visit or two visits, depending on whether you have, whether you're milling in the office if you're doing crowns. Now, think how dental insurance works, Naren. There's an annual benefit, an annual award.
Right.
It's often $1,000, $1,200, maybe $1,500 annual award. So how does the idea of coming in and spreading this dentistry over a bunch of years, how does that sound to the patient that's fearful? Like, oh, well, we'll do this year, we'll do this, next year, we'll do this, and the next year, we'll do this, and next year. How do you think that lands with them?
Yeah, what I hear is, I'm going to go through pain for a long time.
I want to get it all done now.
Yeah, I just want to get it over with. Yeah.
And instantly it takes them away from being insurance dependent
Yes.
to having it done in the way that works best for them. I want to have, and what they typically say is, I want to get whatever I need to have done, I want to get it done in as few visits as necessary. And
Right.
immediately we're already past their annual award by many times. And that patient is very motivated. People pay for what they want. Did you believe that, Naren? People
Yeah,
will pay for what they
absolutely.
want.
They want, like we can lecture them and tell them all the things they need, but really what drives them is what they really think they want.
And if they want this dentistry done in few visits, then they'll figure out a way to make that work.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's a brilliant defense against insurance dependency, because they don't want to drag this out over a bunch of years playing a silly insurance game about benefits. They want to get this done and get healthy, and they want to get back on track toward keeping their mouth healthy. And you're the one to lead them through that journey.
The
Well,
other thing I want to kind of mention to you, Gary, is I also find it's a snowball effect. So let's say a dental practice start going down this path of offering, conscious sedation, taking care of patients who have never been to a dentist and, providing pain-free dentistry. All of a sudden, they start attracting the right kind of patients who, like you said, want to get things done and get things done right now, high value services, big check dentistry. And then they're like, okay, let me do the next thing and the next thing. And before you know it, like from an SEO standpoint, I noticed that they start in one high value service, and perhaps it's in this case, oral conscious sedation, but then they're doing 3, 4. Of course, they don't do everything because they don't enjoy everything, but they're doing the 3 or 4 things they love. And they have this component, I mean, 2, 3 years down the road, they have a component of their practice where it's not insurance dependent. They get paid full fees, and the average check size from every patient is thousands of dollars as opposed to hundreds of dollars. So it becomes like a $500,000 part of their practice that's extremely profitable, and it's fun for the doctor too, right? They enjoy these types of high value services.
this is life-changing dentistry. When you take someone that's been away from the dentist for 20 years,
yeah,
and now they discovered that, wait, I can be a patient now. It's life-changing, for
right.
them. Well, you're going to enjoy this series. We'll continue it. We'll feature other high-value services in future episodes. Stay tuned. I think you'll enjoy this. And this is very much related to reducing insurance dependence, because people will pay for what they want before they'll pay for what they need. And it's one of our 6 steps. And we hope to amplify that and provide even more details around that.